What's happening, friends? Welcome back to the Bankrupt Hippo YouTube channel and another episode of Women's Soccer World, where we talk all about the world of women's soccer and all the glorious things going on within it. We've got another great show for you yet again today, but first, my friends, if you're enjoying these videos and would like to get in on the fandom, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and check out any of my other great playlists at your leisure. I sure do appreciate it. So for this week, we're mainly going to talk about all the different leagues that are going to be starting up yet again now that fall is upon us. The FAWSL first match day was completed. We're going to go around the results for the entire league, just kind of giving a little bit of analysis and what it might mean for the rest of the season or this season as it's just kind of starting up and premiering. We're going to go in match order, starting with my favorite club, Manchester United. So for me, as a Manchester United fan, I was really excited for this match for a few reasons. The team has changed a lot over this last transfer window. A lot of players have left. We've got a new manager in Marc Skinner, who came over from the Orlando Pride in the NWSL. So my anticipation was kind of through the roof. My guess was that Manchester United were in fact going to win this one over Reading, and they did. Manchester United won by a scoreline of 2 to Reading's 0. Who were the difference makers in this match? Kirsty Hansen scored the first goal of the match in the 39th minute off of a beautiful through ball from Ella Toon, and she slotted it home to the lower right-hand corner of the net with the most ferocious celebration and energy ever after scoring, which of course I was really excited about because it was the debut goal for the season, and what more exciting way to do it than to take the lead at home. The second goal of the game came from Anna Batye. I'm trying to remember if her last name is pronounced Batye or Baye. I've heard it pronounced 2 different ways. I'll say Batye for this, but feel free to correct me in the comments. Anyways, she slotted home a beautiful ball into the upper right hand corner of the net on another through ball from Ella Toon. Ella Toon got both assists on the day, and that's pretty much all she wrote for this game. Marc Skinner got his debut win. Manchester United as a club triumph and brought home the 3 points. My woman of the match for this one was Ella Toon for both assists, and I continue to try to stress the importance of Ella Toon and what she's going to be for Manchester United for, I think, this entire season and going forward. I think Ella Toon is going to be a legend someday when it comes to English football. She's going to be a Manchester United legend, and she's got the world of time to grow because she's only 19, 20 years old, and she's amazing. She led the team in several scoring categories last season, I believe, in assists and goals, so she's got her work cut out for her this season. I have no doubt that she will succeed, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. I don't know if Manchester United are going to be making the Champions League this season because I think Arsenal, Manchester City, and Chelsea are extremely strong. I'm just a realist. However, I maintain the optimism that they're going to have a great season, and who knows, if they perform well enough, anything's possible. So, moving on to the next match. So the next match for this weekend was Aston Villa and Leicester City. I was excited for this match because of the fact that this was Leicester City's first game since promotion from the championship last season. They had a great run there, and they won the league by a decent margin. This match ended up in their first loss of the season, their debut. Unfortunately, though, Aston Villa won by a scoreline of 2 to Leicester City's 1. Some of the highlights for this match: Natasha Flint ended up opening the scoring for Leicester on a driven ball that was going toward the keeper. It bounced off the keeper's hands and went into goal, so a little bit of a miscue from Aston Villa there. But Aston Villa ended up prevailing on a couple of more goals for the rest of the game. Sarah Mailing ended up opening the scoring for them in what I believe was the 63rd minute. And then just 1 minute later, Remy Allen scored in the 64th minute, giving Aston Villa the lead and propelling them to their first win of the season. Now, although Leicester City lost this first match, I think that they'll still have a successful season. In fact, I'm going to boldly predict they'll come in 7th by the time the season's over. I think they're a really strong team who's just trying to get their foothold in the league and had a little bit of misfortune, maybe a little bit of jitters, and I don't know if Aston Villa is going to be strong enough as the season runs down the stretch to stay up this year. So time will tell, but I'm excited to see what Leicester City and Aston Villa, frankly, do for the rest of the year. So with that, what else do we got? Moving into Everton versus Manchester City. Now, Manchester City's undergone some changes of their own this offseason, so has Everton, which is just the churn of the transfer window, right? I was really curious to see how Manchester City was going to perform in this first game, especially with the absence of Chloe Kelly, who provided a ton of assists and a ton of goals for them last season. But it turns out they had no problem. They beat Everton by a scoreline of 4-0 this morning. Actually, no, not this morning. Yesterday on Saturday, September 4th, my mistake. The 4 goals that Manchester City scored all came in the form of Vicky Losada in the 26th minute, Janine Becky in the 36th minute, Khadija Bunny Shaw in the 38th minute, and a beautiful free kick from Steph Houghton in the 67th minute. If you haven't seen that goal, do yourself a favor and go find it and watch it right now. It was quite glorious. Steph Houghton has a reputation for doing such things, and she prevailed. This game, what can you really say about it when you got a scoreline like this? Manchester City does this all the time. I have a feeling they'll do this frequently this season yet again. Gareth Taylor has them on the warpath at all times. And this will get especially interesting when they start playing against Arsenal and Chelsea and a lot of other teams in this league. So I think they're in for a really good season and a really high scoring one at that, despite all the pieces that have shifted around. I feel gutted for Everton because for this game they are at home. They're at Goodison Park, actually. They got to play at a really, really big venue. There's a great turnout, which is really, really cool to see. And it feels funny actually seeing more and more fans kind of come back for games given the pandemic and whatnot. It's really cool to see. I'm happy to see these teams playing at really big venues, and it's just a ton of fun to watch. So with that, what else do we got? Next up, we got Tottenham and Birmingham City. This was a really quiet game with only one goal being scored between the two sides. It turns out Kit Graham was the difference in this game because she scored the lone goal for Tottenham in the 40th minute, which was off of an intended cross that just kind of found its way into the back of the net. We've all seen that in our time as football fans at one time or another. But that's pretty much the only notable highlight from the game. Birmingham City didn't really seem to have too much going offensively, considering that they only had 32% of the possession. So I don't think Birmingham City really had a particularly great outing. On the other side of that, I think Tottenham could have scored quite a few more goals. They had a lot of chances. They had a lot of very close chances at that. It's just shooting was just slightly off the mark. The through balls were on point from what I saw. I couldn't watch the entirety of the game, but from what I saw, their through balls were quite excellent, and I'm excited to see how they're going to link up as the season goes on, because Tottenham is, to me, one of those teams that's going to be really unpredictable this season. I honestly have no clue where they're going to end up finishing, so I'll be intrigued to see what happens from there on out. So, let's keep it rolling. Brighton and Hove Albion 2, West Ham 0. This game was really interesting because West Ham got a red card in the 32nd minute from Hawa Sissoko, which, whenever you get a red card like that early on, it never really bodes well for your club, especially if you're on the defending side of that. It is really hard to run around for 58 minutes with only 10 players out on the pitch. So I don't blame necessarily West Ham for ending up losing this game. Having said that, Brighton was able to capitalize on it by scoring a penalty in the 33rd minute right after Sissoko's red card. I'm assuming that the penalty was a result of that red card from Kegman. And then just fast forward 7-8 minutes later, Ju Min scored in the 41st minute to get the second goal for Brighton. And then that's all that was wrote for this game. So quiet game, but the first red card of the season, and it resulted in a win for Brighton. Now the grand finale for this episode, my most anticipated match, Arsenal and Chelsea. Arsenal won this really big match by a scoreline of 3-2. Now, for me, this was my most anticipated match of the week for a multitude of reasons. Arsenal's gotten quite a bit of new signings in Iwabuchi, plus they made headlines this week by signing Tobin Heath to a deal, which I made a video about. I'll link somewhere up above so you guys can watch it if you're curious my thoughts on it. I'm excited for Arsenal, despite I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm excited for Arsenal because they seem to really be trying to make a push for the title, and they're making moves to do so, and they seem to have a lot of momentum going into the season. They've had a lot of change, and for me, this gets to be the most interesting team of the season because of all that churn, all that change, a new coach, new signings, key departures, and the departures of Daniel Van de Donk and also Jill Roord and also Lisa Evans to West Ham. So not West Ham, I'm sorry, Aston Villa. And it's really, it just makes for an interesting time as to how the season's going to go. And Tobin Heath did not play in this match, but it turns out Arsenal was able to still handle everything, get it done and dusted. Vivian Miedema opened up the scoring earlier on for Arsenal, and then Beth Mead followed up with a brace later on. On the other side of that coin for Chelsea, Aaron Cuthbert opened the scoring for them, and Pernille Harder followed that up in the 59th minute. So this was a really high-scoring affair, which I expected for this match. These are both attacking-minded offensive teams that have a lot of weapons that they can use. I mean, I could go on for days about the depth that Chelsea has in their front line, and honestly from their midfield and up, and you could say the same for Arsenal too. So I'm anticipating that these two teams are going to score a lot this season. I anticipate that Chelsea is going to be the better defensive team, and to me, the best defenses win championships. So if you ask me, I think down the stretch, Chelsea is going to win the title. Having said that, I am really curious to see how big of an impact this particular match is going to have on the rest of the season. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is only the first match of the season. How big of an impact could it have? But you have to keep in mind, at the end of last season, Chelsea only won the title by like a point or two over Manchester City. So every game matters. And Chelsea didn't lose a game up until like the last month of the season last year. So every point matters, every draw matters, every loss matters, every win matters. And when you lose a game like this early on, it begs the question about implications going down the stretch. So it might not mean a big deal now, but later on for the rest of the season, it makes these matches for Chelsea, especially against Arsenal, Manchester City, and other title contenders, even more important and frankly more exciting. So I was okay with this result as a fan, just a general outsider having no skin in the game, because it's going to make the WSL just that more exciting to see what goes on. And it's going to make Champions League play even more exciting because who knows, the two teams might face each other going down the stretch. And so with that, my friends, I just want to say it was a glorious first match week for the FAWSL for the 2021-22 season. I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes. What did you make of the match week one? Did your favorite clubs win? Do you think the Arsenal-Chelsea match has a much bigger result and implications than what I thought? Maybe much less. Whatever you think, you know what the comment section is. Let me know. Okay, my friends, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Women's Soccer World. Thanks so much for stopping by. Like, comment, and subscribe, or check out any of these other great playlists to join in on the fandom. I appreciate you stopping by. This has been the Bankrupt Hippo YouTube channel, and until next time, have a great day.